Alright guys, Anime Vanguards has just nerfed the player base pretty hard. Perry is not in the running for today's video on content farming, this new shadow nerf, but if you're just here for a quick rundown, basically they nerfed the challenges. And I didn't even know about this because apparently it was a shadow nerf. I think AB Plays, I think that's his channel, he sent the message of the screenshot that I'm about to show on screen in the CC chat. So, you know, that was the first time I actually saw about it, but I'll put it on the screen right now. Basically, what's happening is, well, we'll just read it. None is playing 24/7. Limit the max number of half-hour completions to 24 per day, 12 hours total. Mango users are getting hundreds of trait rerolls above what's physically possible. So basically what this was a, what's the word for it again? I can't even think. A suggestion, yes, a suggestion for Anime Vanguards by Zorutan. Shout out to Zoro. Essentially, what his point was, macroers are getting insane amounts of rerolls compared to the regular player base. And now, as a macro myself, and, you know, I'm sorry if you guys hate me for that. It's just kind of, you know, what I make videos on. I can confirm this is true. Now, while I can sit here and cry behind my screen and say, this is not fair, I want more rerolls, I'm not going to say that because, no, this is a good change. Basically, I'll continue reading this, though. You removed boss tournament and Odyssey trait shards, but not this stupidly obvious one. Come on. At that point, just admit your anti-manual play. Even if we assume someone plays 16 hours and does 32 completions, the difference is still massive. 32 times 30 plus 32 times 4 times 2 equals 352. 48 times 3 plus 48 times 4 times 2 equals 528. Excuse me. That is a 176 shard difference. And again, that is if you have 16 hours every single day. Realistically, you'll have barely 8, meaning 16 completions, and a whooping 352 trait shard difference. Since it's unlikely this will never be addressed and no pull will be made on it by the devs, react with L if you want, then pause. Okay, that's just the rest of it. And then you see the picture at the bottom of the screen. Mango idle player doing nothing, 528 from half an hour challenges, and hardworking player at physical limit, 352 from half an hour challenges. Now, are we in the right for this? Well, yes, 100%. Even as a macro, this should have been happened a long time ago. Now, obviously, I was kind of just basking in the greatness of having infinite trait rerolls as a free-to-play player, as a macroer, because, well, I do not have time to play the game that long. And yes, you guys can say, like, oh, well, if you don't have time to play the game, then don't play the game. But I think you have to understand that this stuff is extremely tedious. And I do think, though, that keeping that more, I guess, balance between macros and manual players is good. Which, yes, it is good. I'm not going to say this is bad. As a macro myself, it's a good thing, right? This should have happened. If this ever changed, probably people like me or people who macro would just get extremely ahead. However, there is one thing to consider that I would say, and that's, is this encouraging people to spend more money on the game, or is it encouraging people to play more manually? Because, to be honest, I don't think this is going to make people be encouraged to play the game more manually, because I think a lot of people enjoy Anime Vanguards, right? But people have lives. I think that's something we have to consider, right? I'm not going to be coming home from school, from after-school activities and whatnot, and wanting to say, like, you know, sit down and grind challenges for 4 hours, or coming home from a college lecture and doing that, or coming from an AP exam and be, oh yeah, let's go grind challenges for 4 hours. I still think that's you know, this isn't going to really encourage that many people to play manually. I think it might just encourage people to buy more rerolls, but still, the good thing to consider is it's nerfing the macros. And it's nerfing me, yes, too. It is nerfing me, but it is still good because, obviously, like I was saying, if this was never addressed and it just kept on, you know, running on and macros were getting upwards to 200 plus a day, just think about this if you calculate this. If we're getting 200 more a day than people who literally are doing the daily limit that's probably possible for a human being on Roblox, in 5 days, that's 1,000 more rerolls, right? If I'm not mistaken, I think that's like an extra 50,000 Robux worth of rerolls, or 100,000 if I'm not. I've never bought rerolls because I can't really afford that kind of stuff as a high schooler. But that's literally, if they get in money terms, upwards to $500 more worth of rerolls in 5 days. And if that you do that to 10 times 5 and get 50 days, now we're up to 500,000 Robux and up to $5,000 more worth of trades, which if you consider that, it gets extremely, extremely out of hand, which yes, this is a good thing. It's a good thing. And do not get misunderstood and think that I'm coming here to say that this is a bad change. This is a good change, right? If we just continue this, again, it will get extremely out of hand. I'll be seeing over here with my 2,000 rerolls without spending any money, and everybody else playing the game regularly is either spending their life savings on rerolls, or they are playing the game to the daily human possible and not getting to have a life, right? And macros are, in my opinion, not necessarily a bad thing because, again, like I said, some things are extremely repetitive, right? The half-an-hour challenges, there's nothing fun about playing those challenges over and over again, right? And if you're not macroing, you're probably spending a bunch of money on the game. So it's either two sides of the story, right? You're either macroing, and some people might say, might not like you for that or whatnot, and say it's unfair, or you're spending your own money on the game and getting a bunch of rerolls, and obviously you're not going to be complaining when you're spending a bunch of money on the game for rerolls, and then you're getting the rerolls. So, it's two sides of the story. You can look at it, but still, like I've been saying, this isn't a bad thing, right? This isn't a bad thing. Well, I do not think this is going to encourage people to play the game not manually, or manually more than, people already would. I do think it does. The main goal was to nerf the macros, which is a good thing, and obviously, as a macro myself, it definitely does nerf macros. But is it going to stop people from macroing? No, it's not. But to be honest, I think 80%, or maybe, well, I don't want to, go out and just point random numbers out there. I think 70% of the majority of Anime Vanguards players probably macro, right? It is extremely tedious if you don't macro. I mean, let's just be honest. If you have things to do, like if you're, in school, or you have a passion other than playing Roblox anime tower defense games all day, you're not going to want to play that manually. And while I do play the game manually, right, I don't just macro 24 hours a day and just call it a day, right? I still play the game, guys. It's my job at this point. I still play the game, right? But again, I think the nerf for the macros was definitely needed. Again, like the post said, it's extremely unfair for the non-macroers who can't macro or don't want to buy macros, which, well, isn't really a problem because a lot of them are free. But still, it does nerf them, which is good. It is good. But, yeah, that's really all I want to say. As a macro myself, I think it is good they nerfed it. I'm not mad. I'm not mad about it, right? I do think that a lot of people do macro, but it shouldn't be a bad thing, right? It should just be a little bit more balanced, right? And it is. This is good. I think that they made a good decision with this, finally implementing it. And I think most people don't know about this too because it's a shadow nerf, but it might get announced pretty soon. But yeah, that's all I have to say, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Join my Discord server, give away 1,000 members, and join my Roblox group. I have some alright merch. And thank you guys for listening to me in place of Perry's videos. And I'll see you next one, guys. Peace out.